Hi everyone, it's Taylor. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be sharing my 2022 goals, and I will also be sharing a little bit about the two different planning systems that I will be using to track my goals throughout the year. So the two planners I have here in front of me are the Cultivate What Matters PowerSheets Goal Planner and the MakseLife Goal Setting System. Now, I just want to preface with saying that both of these systems can definitely be used on their own, but I have personally found aspects of both over the last couple of years that I feel like I can't live without. So I have found a way to use both of these planners in a way that works best for me when it comes to setting and tracking my goals each year. If you are interested in a more in-depth description of either of these planners, I suggest just popping in a quick YouTube search for a review of either planner. There are tons of reviews out there, and you can really get a good idea of how these different systems work to see what might work best for you. In this video, I will be talking specifically about how I personally use each system in a way that works best for me. So I'm going to go ahead and set the PowerSheets over here to the side because all of my yearly goals are actually placed in my MakseLife planner. So let's go ahead and open this one up. And the thing I'm actually going to jump to first is my yearly intentions page. I really love this page in the MakseLife planner because it allows me to set intentions at the beginning of the year that kind of shape and form my goals. I'm not sure if I actually shared this page last year, so I just kind of wanted to briefly go over the intentions that I set this year and why I set those intentions, as well as talk about my word of the year. So I'm going to zoom in just a tad so you can kind of see a little bit closer. The first question is, what could I use more of in my life this year? And I said confidence, joy, and self-love. What could I use less of in my life this year? Worry, negativity, and self-doubt. I feel like doubting where I'm at in life was something I did a lot last year. And so kind of choosing to focus on these three things up here, I think will help overcome these three things. What characteristics would I like to nurture this year? I said bravery and radiance. I just want to be brave enough to step up and do what I need to do in order to grow and make progress and attain the things that I truly want in life. And I just feel like this is the year that I feel ready to do that. 3 habits I want to develop this year are gratitude, reflection, and exercise. There are lots of habits, to be honest, that I would love to nurture, but these are 3 that I just feel like would really benefit me in my journey of sort of finding some self-assurance in who I am and the woman that I want to be. This year, I will be more intentional and decisive. I will do less overthinking and hesitating. I feel like I spend so much time putting too much thought into things and not just listening to my gut and going with what feels right. So that's something I really want to work on. I will give myself grace for messing up and falling short. I will let go of fear and expectations. I will embrace change and discomfort. So those are kind of my intentions that I set for myself, and I feel really good about them. And I feel like this is going to be a great page to come back to and reflect on throughout the year to see if I'm really sticking to these intentions. And then, as you can see, my word for 2022 is embrace. Last year, my word was intention, and I actually didn't write it down until about 6 months into the year, but that was the word I always came back to, was wanting to be intentional. And I felt like I really was intentional last year, and I'm proud of myself for that. So this year, we want to continue being intentional, but we also want to embrace the challenges that come our way. We want to be flexible and able to bend and shift and kind of go with the flow. So I said what my word means to me to accept willingly what is out of my control and embrace opportunity for growth and progress. I just feel like the word embrace really stuck out to me because I really get caught up in these ideas and expectations of what life should be or what I should be doing. Like the word should is always popping up in my vocabulary. And I'm really trying to get rid of that and trying to embrace just what's right in front of me. Stop thinking about what I should be doing and what I want to be doing and what feels right. And then when things throw me curveballs, just being able to embrace those curveballs and learn to go with the flow a little bit and not be knocked down every time there is an obstacle that comes my way. So that's kind of the reason I chose the word embrace. Now, if I pull out the power sheets, there is a page in here that helps you kind of brainstorm ideas for word of the year. And so some of the words that really stuck out to me were flexibility, develop, progress, willingness to adjust, and all of this was sort of what led me up here to embrace. Accepting willingly and taking or receiving gladly or eagerly, not being so afraid of the things that are being thrown at me and just choosing to embrace them instead and make the most of what is in front of me. So again, these two systems I literally go back and forth between, and when I'm in the process of setting my goals, I really utilize the prep work that comes in the power sheets. It's very overwhelming, but it always gets me thinking and helps me figure out what is most important to me at that certain point in my life. Okay, so we're gonna zoom back out here. Okay, so now that we've kind of talked about my intentions, one other thing I wanted to look at so you guys could kind of get an idea of where I feel I'm at. This is the Life Compass Assessment that Sierra Friend, the person who created this planner, came up with as a way for you to sort of rate where you feel you are at in the 8 different categories of life. Those categories are personal, fun and recreation, work and learning, family and relationships, health and wellness, spiritual and personal growth, financial and physical environment. I'm obsessed with these categories. Ever since these were introduced to me, it is what made me fall in love with the MakseLife system, because without these 8 categories, I feel like my goals just didn't have a good balance or focus. So this has been incredibly helpful in helping grow and maintain the different areas of my life. So this is kind of where I'm at in each category. Some of the higher scoring categories were family and relationships, spiritual and personal growth, and physical environment, and also work and learning. Those were some of my higher ones, whereas some of my lower ones were fun and recreation, health and wellness, and definitely finances. So it's really awesome to be able to look at this and quickly tell what categories you're definitely going to need to put more work into and which categories you want to just continue to maintain and grow. And then up here, these are just the scores that I want to try and get to by the end of the year. Anyway, so that just kind of gives you an idea of where I'm at in each category. So now we're going to actually flip to my annual goals that I have set. So let's just take this one category at a time. We'll start first with the personal category. So my focus for personal is fulfillment. My first goal is to incorporate a monthly routine of memory keeping, journaling, and gratitude. Last year, I wanted to do memory keeping and I did not keep up with it at all. But I really wanted to keep that goal because I feel like it's really important to me to have a place where I can go back and remember my life that year and what it was like and what I was going through. And so I've thought that maybe I will try it again this year, but maybe simplify my memory keeping tactics. And we're just going to attempt to try it again. And then I also just want to journal and gratitude as a way to continue to reflect in order to be able to grow and figure out what's important to me, what's working, what's not working, all that sort of stuff. My second goal is to affirm and challenge myself through active goal setting and personal development. So that basically will entail keeping up with my goals in this planner every single month, and making sure I'm doing my reflections and I'm, rechecking in and resetting my goals each quarter. And then I also have some different programs like Club Moxie, which I did not finish last year. And so I'm not going to be paying for the new Club Moxie this year, but I will be going back and finishing all of the work that was available to me from Club Moxie last year. And so just things like that, just focusing on reading books, doing things that serve me in my own personal development. My third goal is to use scheduled alone time to practice self-care. The key word here is scheduled. I talk about this with my therapist all the time. She tells me that I need to start actually putting in my calendar my plans for self-care, because I always let self-care take the back burner when other things pop up, and I need to treat it as something that is a part of my schedule, that is non-negotiable. And so that's just something huge that I really, really want to put into practice this year. And then my last personal goal is to use social media more intentionally and schedule frequent breaks. So with this goal, I really want to start posting on my personal accounts about once a month and kind of sharing updates on my life and letting my friends and family know where I'm at more often, because a lot of times I don't update my social media for months and then people are like, what's happening in your life? And so I just feel like that's something I'd like to be more intentional about. But at the same time, I want to reduce the amount of time I spend on social media. And I think the best way to do that is to just schedule either a certain time of day that I'm not on social media, or taking breaks throughout the month or throughout the year for longer stretches of time. I'm not really sure what that's going to look like yet. I think I'm going to kind of trial and error how I'm going to choose to step away from social media. But that is just something that I feel like is definitely needed. So how will my life improve by reaching these personal goals? I will grow in contentment. I feel like contentment is something that probably most of us struggle with. We live in a world where we just constantly need more and more and more. And I just want to be in a place where I'm content and I'm happy with where I'm at. Even though I constantly want to be growing, I think that there's a lot to be said for being content with who you are and where you're at this point in your life. I just need to practice that with more gratitude and reflection and appreciation for myself. So those are my personal goals. Let's move down to fun and recreation. My focus for fun is joy, and I think that was my focus last year as well in this category. So my first fun and recreation goal is to invest more time and energy into my hobbies every week. And I kind of struggled with the wording on this one, but kind of my intention behind this is similar to scheduling alone time, also scheduling in hobbies time, finding routines with my hobbies, making sure that I'm carving out that time every week to invest in my hobbies so that I am experiencing joy and that I'm doing the things that I love the most. My second goal is to read 50 books, and I added an exclamation point there because this is a huge goal for me. Last year, my goal was to read 24 books. I read 23 and a half. Technically, I finished my last book of December in January, but I pretty much met my goal last year, and I did most of that reading in the second half of the year. So I figured if I could read 20 books in 6 months, I think I can read 50 books in a year, which is huge. I've never read that many books in a year before, but I really want to make it happen this year. So excited. My third goal, I'm sad because my Sharpie smeared. Ugh, I hate it when that happens. But my third goal is to try new things with YouTube. That just basically means like trying out new types of videos, maybe changing up my editing style, just kind of going out of my way to keep my YouTube fresh and trying different things. Last year, I recorded a book video and I really, really loved that. And because I'm getting back into reading a lot, I would really love to start incorporating more reading related videos. I also would love to incorporate more goal videos. I also think it would be fun to incorporate more videos relating to teaching, maybe like day in the lives of a teacher, like that sort of thing. So I don't know, just trying out different things with my YouTube. And then my fourth goal there is to plan a vacation to at least one place I've never been. I have always wanted to travel. Since I was a little girl, it's something I always said I wanted to do. And it feels like traveling is something that I always put off. But I really, really want to make it a priority this year to go visit a place that I've never been, whether that's by myself or with family or with my boyfriend. I'm not sure yet. I would love to plan a solo trip, but I don't know if that'll happen this year or not. I just know that I definitely want to go somewhere I've never been. And then how will my life improve by reaching these goals? I will experience more life-fulfilling joy. And that is that. So let's move on to my work and learning goals. My focus here is to initiate progress. I feel like I've had a lot of goals in this category last year that I just wasn't initiating or starting. And so my goal this year, or my focus, is to just get started and start making progress, even if it's not huge progress. So the first goal is to get organized in my classroom and establish systems that reduce clutter and stress. This is a huge focus for me this year, is just getting things put into place in my classroom that are going to help me long term. Some of those things include creating a sub-tub, which I have not done yet, and I should have had that done my first year of teaching. Putting together some centers. I really want to start centers rotations once a month in my classroom, but that requires a lot of work and pre-planning, so that's something I kind of want to focus on. I also just want to get my cabinets organized and my instruments organized in my classroom, as well as my books and music and that sort of stuff. And then I also want to try and declutter my work computer and keep it decluttered by, maintaining some sort of monthly declutter routine on my computer. So just some different things like that to reduce the clutter and stress in my classroom, because right now there's just a lot of it, and I feel like that'll help me be more clear-minded, and it'll also really help me out when it comes to lesson planning, to have everything else ready to go. My second goal is to take music education workshops/courses to continue growth as an educator. I just really want to make sure that I am taking the opportunity to continue learning how to be the best educator I can be. I do plan on taking my Kodai Level 2, which is a music teaching pedagogy course that I took last year. So I took Level 1, there's 3 levels, and this year I'd like to take Level 2. And then there's also a ukulele/guitar teaching class at my local music store that I really want to try to take this year, because I got classroom ukuleles and I think it would be nice to learn more about the best ways to teach it to elementary level students. And then the third goal is to learn a new skill outside of my expertise. So this is the goal that is not necessarily work related, but learning related. I just want to learn a new skill. Some different things I've been interested in are hand lettering. I've also been interested in learning Photoshop, but of course that costs money to learn how to use it because you have to purchase the program. But that's something I would love to do. I would also love to gain more video editing skills for my YouTube, just different things like that. Or something that I've just never tried before, like crocheting or sewing. I don't know. I just think it would be awesome to learn something new that isn't something I do every day already. And then for the work and learning category, how will my life improve by reaching these goals? I will feel more accomplished and competent. All right, so let's move on to family and relationships. My focus for this category is intention. So kind of bouncing off of my word of the year last year, I really want to carry that through into my relationships. So the first goal I have in this category is to proactively plan for birthdays and celebrations each month. I want to have a system in place where each month I can look at the next month's birthdays and celebrations that are coming up and be ready to go with the cards and the gifts and the messages and all that stuff. So, okay, the second goal is to intentionally cultivate more love and appreciation in my relationship. Now, this might seem like kind of a vague goal, but there are very specific actions I can take every week, every month to make sure that I'm showing love and appreciation to my partner every day. So some of the different ideas I had, like this month, I'm trying to write him love notes and leave them in different places just to make him feel good. Other ideas are monthly date nights, going out of my way to perform acts of service, just different things like that can continue to cultivate appreciation for each other in a relationship, because I feel like that's really important, is to know that both of you feel loved and appreciated every single day. The third goal that I have is to establish family routines and expectations in our household that encourage growth and connection. So I live with my boyfriend and his daughter half of the time. The other half of the time she lives with her mom. But something my boyfriend and I sat down and discussed was this idea of being a family and doing things together that are going to continue to connect us and be healthy for us. And so just making sure that we do things like sitting at the dinner table as a family, reducing screen time, actively planning for activities outside the house together, and being more intentional about doing chores together, just different things like that that are going to foster healthy relationships with each other. And then my last goal is to host friends or family once a month. Last year, I probably can count on one hand how many times we had people over at our house. Normally, we are always the ones going to other people's houses. And so I told Chris that this year I really want to have people over, and I don't want to do it an overwhelmingly amount of times, but I figured once a month would be good, just to like invite parents over for dinner, or have some friends over for a board game night, or have our siblings over for a movie night, have my niece over to play with Jane, just different things like that, that I feel like we need to take advantage of and invite people in our home. And then the question down at the bottom, how will my life improve by reaching these family and relationship goals? My relationships and connections will be more meaningful. All right, so let's move on to the health and wellness category. My focus here is to energize. My first goal is to maintain a weekly exercise schedule. I did very little exercising last year. Something that I was doing almost 3 to 4 times a week before COVID was yoga. We had a hot yoga studio that I was visiting quite often, and it was keeping me active. Chris and I also were rock climbing a couple times a week at our local rock climbing gym, and we were just very, very active. And COVID hit and we just haven't been doing any of that stuff. And it's hard because those things also cost money. And I, as you will see in my financial goals, am really trying to limit my spending this year. So I really want to get back to exercising. I'm just going to have to learn how to do a lot of that from home. So I've already started doing yoga with Adriene on YouTube. So starting off with yoga because that's the thing I love doing the most. I also want to start taking walks, going on runs, and then trying to find other workouts online. I know the Peloton app has great workouts. It does cost money. I'd have to look at the price there. But just finding and creating a weekly exercise schedule that works for me, that isn't overwhelming, and keeping that simple so that I'm not feeling overwhelmed, because I would rather do a little bit of movement every week than try to do an overwhelming amount and then just not do it at all. So that was a lot of explaining, but maintain a weekly exercise schedule. My second goal is to find an evening wind down routine that helps me get to bed by 10 p.m. So this is kind of like 2 goals in one. My goal is to start going to bed earlier and getting 7 hours of sleep. And if I go to bed by 10, that can almost guarantee 7 hours for me if I get up around 5 a.m. And 7, I feel like, is the perfect amount of sleep for me. So that's the first part of that goal. But then the second part is working on an evening routine, because I feel like the biggest reason I can't get to bed on time is because I don't have a consistent evening routine that helps me get there. And I tried to work on this a little bit last year. I was using the Routinery app that was suggested by Lakin over at Plan with Lakin, and that was really, really helpful. But I kind of fell out of that routine once I moved out of my apartment, and then once I ended up in this new home, I just never got back into an evening routine. So that's something I want to bring back, and I want to tweak and continue to work on until I find a routine that helps me get to that goal of bed by 10 p.m. My third goal is to plan well-balanced meals every week and eat healthier alternatives. So the idea here, the key word is well-balanced. Making sure that every week I'm getting in my vegetables, I'm getting in my protein, I'm making sure that every week I am eating the things that nourish my body, and I'm also choosing healthier alternatives when it comes to sugar and soda and that sort of stuff. So that goal each month will kind of look like, focuses on meal planning, new recipes, that sort of thing. And then the next goal is to engage in mind-clearing activities that promote calmness and peace. The point of this goal is to just find ways to get out of my head and calm my anxieties, and just really find some inner peace. So that may look like, finding meditations, going on walks, taking more baths, like just doing things that are going to help clear my head and calm me down a little bit. And then the last goal is to try a new recipe every month. And then how will my life improve by reaching these health and wellness goals? I said my mind and body will be well nourished. Okay, moving on to the spiritual and personal growth category. My focus this year is going to be spiritual knowledge. The reason behind that is because I feel like I focused a lot on my faith. I got back into church this last year. I got much more involved in my church. I started singing, but now I really want to hone in on my beliefs, my values, scripture, and how that plays a role in my life, and just overall becoming more knowledgeable when it comes to my faith and the things I claim to believe in. So the first goal in this category is to grow in spiritual knowledge by completing daily scripture readings. I actually started a new Bible study book called The Bible in 52 Weeks. This is by Kimberly D. Moore, and so I love this already. This is what I will be using to read every single day. So when you open it up, it has your daily readings over here, and then each week you can do some reflection questions and journaling and that sort of thing. So I'm really excited to use this to get myself to start reading my Bible, and as a guide to sort of helping me understand the scriptures a little bit easier. So then my second goal is to seek out opportunities for active service and fellowship. Like I said before, I do sing at my church, but just finding more ways to reach out and be more involved in my church with people, and even outside of my church. I have a friend that really wants to do some Bible study stuff together, and just seeking out opportunities like that to grow in my faith outside of myself as well. And then of course, down here, how will my life improve? By reaching these goals, I will find more purpose and strength in my understanding of faith. All right, let's flip it on over to the financial goals. My focus for financial is security. My biggest thing this year is that I need to figure out how to stop living paycheck to paycheck, because that's basically what I'm doing. And anytime I do save some money, I end up having some huge payment that comes up unexpectedly or expectedly. And then all of that buffer that I created just goes straight to that. And then I'm back to square one. So I am really working to get out of that and start taking my finances a bit more seriously. So my first goal is to build savings and retirement contributions. So my goal for the year is to have a $5,000 emergency fund. I would love it if it was like $10,000, but we're not going to overreach. We're going to go for $5,000 for now. And that is going to be an emergency fund that I do not touch. When other payments come up, I won't have to touch it. That is the goal. And then I also want to contribute a certain amount each month to retirement starting this year because I have not started contributing to retirement, and I feel like that is very, very important. But I need to kind of sit down and figure out what that number is going to be. I did start paying my health insurance for the first time this year because my stepdad retired. I'm still only 24, but now I'm paying my own health insurance, so that definitely affected my monthly budget. And so looking at things like that, I'm going to have to start paying off student loans very likely this year. And so just taking those things into account to figure out how much I can actually contribute each month for retirement. Once I figure out that number, I will plug it in here. Then the second goal is to seek out means for extra income. Y'all know I'm a teacher, and I'm making it, but I want to do more than make it. My salary is a starting teacher salary. I did take some master credit that I can start applying next year, which will increase my pay a tad. But I really think that I need to look into maybe teaching some summer school or maybe singing a couple weeks at a church camp, just doing something that's going to help me earn a little bit of extra income this year. And then my third goal is to practice intentional spending by consulting the budget regularly. I can't tell you how many times I had checked the budget or look at my budget on my weekly action items list throughout the last year, and I just completely ignored it. Like, I wanted nothing to do with looking at my finances, and I have got to get out of that mindset. I don't know why that's been a struggle for me this year. It really wasn't so much so in previous years. But yeah, I just need to get out of my funk, and I need to make that a priority. And so I kind of added down here track spending and then monthly budget meetings with Chris, because we do live together, but we handle our finances separately. But we still want to be very open and transparent about where we both stand and where we're at with our payments and things like that. So I feel like those two things will keep me active in constantly looking at the budget and making adjustments when needed. How will my life improve by reaching these financial goals? I will secure my future and reduce stress/worry. And to finish off my goals, my focus is maintenance. The first goal here is to use what I have in order to reduce clutter and excess. I had this same goal last year, and I didn't really focus on it a whole lot. I have so much stuff, whether that's an excess of hair products, skincare, stickers, planners, journals, writing utensils. Like, I just have so much of so many things, candles, and I need to start working through that stuff and holding myself back from purchasing more until I get a handle on what I already own. This is also a goal that is going to help me financially as well. It's going to hold me accountable when it comes to purchasing things that I don't need. I think the big one here too is definitely stickers. I need to find a way to start using some of the stickers I already have before I start buying brand new kits and brand new, other functional stickers. So that is definitely going to be a huge one for me. My second goal is to establish and maintain cleaning routines. This is something I really wanted to work on last year, but then again, I moved and then my environment changed. And so that was something that just kind of got lost or got pushed to the side. And so that is something that I really want us to get back on track with. And then my third goal is to make my home a place of comfort and coziness. And so kind of what I mean by that is I still feel like there are aspects of my home that I just don't feel are where I want them to be yet. And so I just want to continue to find ways to make my home the most comfortable and relaxing place on the planet, because when I come home, I don't want to feel stressed. I don't want to feel uncomfortable. I want it to be my favorite place in the world. And so that is something I really want to focus on. And so how will my life improve? I kind of already said it. My home will be more comfortable and relaxing. So those are my 2022 goals. I know it's kind of a lot, but that is something that I love about this system so much, is that I can create several goals for each category, and then every month I can sit down and I don't have to focus on all of this at once. I can pick and choose which goals I want to focus on throughout the year based on where I'm at, what's going on, and what I'm going to be able to put the most time and energy into. And so I just really love that. So now that I have all of my goals ready to go in this planner, the thing that I will do is take out my PowerSheets. We're just going to move that one to the side. What I do in my PowerSheets is I flip open to the monthly tab. So this is the January tab. And I love this little page. It's kind of a page that helps you get focused and set your intentions for the month. But then these are the magical pages that I'm obsessed with. This is what makes sense to me the most when it comes to taking these goals and breaking them down every single month. There's just something about the tending list that makes so much sense in my head and helps me track my progress. So if I could only take one thing from this planner, it would be the monthly tending list. It's my absolute favorite part. So what I do with the tending list is I take my goals from each month, or I take my goals from each category, and I decide what monthly actions, weekly actions, and daily actions I want to take in order to make progress on those things. And so I will use stickers to categorize each action, tie it with the color of the goal that is in here. And then this is the planner that I will leave open, and every single day that month I will come and I will check to see, what have I done? What do I still need to get done? Is there anything that I need to scratch from the list that's just not going to happen this month? Is there anything that I feel like I want to add? And I just love it. This just makes it so easy. I do also, in the MakseLife planner, they have the weekly actions page. And so I will take a look at my tending list each week, and then anything that I'm going to work on, whether it's a monthly action or a weekly action, I'm going to transfer into this planner as well. And so yes, sometimes there are double things that I'm tracking, but this is the one that I will come to at the end of the month, and I will be able to see exactly how much progress I made toward each goal. I can see how consistent I was with my daily actions rather than having to flip through every single week in this planner to see how it went. And I just love it, you guys. This system just absolutely works for me. It's what makes sense for me, and it's what I plan on doing throughout the year to continue to track my goals. So with all of that being said, that is how I plan to use both the PowerSheets and my MakseLife planner to track my 2022 goals. I did not set any January goals because I used the entire month of January to continue mulling over and working on the goals that I started to set in December. And I just usually don't start my actual goals until February, because that is when I am for sure on what the plan is and what it is that I want to focus on. So definitely keep an eye out for a February goals video, and you will get to see in a little bit more detail how I set my goals each month using both of these planners. All right, you guys, that is it for my 2022 goals. Let me know down in the comments what goals you are really excited about working on this year. Let me know what goal planning system you are using. If you're using one at all, you might just be tracking your goals on a spreadsheet. Who knows? I would love to hear what your goals are for 2022. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys.